Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one, we are going to head over to Hong Kong once again, and we're going to return to a brewery that's featured on the channel a couple of times before. I've had some really nice beers from these guys over the last few years, a few things from the more hoppy end of the spectrum, a few darker, more malty beers, as well as a few sour ales as well, and all of them have been pretty damn good, I have to say. But the beer we're having a look at today is from one of their more experimental series that they do. It's one of the latest releases from that series, and it is supposed to be quite quirky and interesting, this one. So needless to say, I'm very curious to see what this beer is going to have in store for us. Hopefully it's another good one, hopefully it makes for an interesting review, and as always I hope that you guys watching enjoy my take on this one as well. So yeah, for this review then, we are going to head to the Kwai Chung area of Hong Kong, and that means that we're going to have a look at another beer from Yardley Brothers Brewery. So this particular beer is called Bugs 3. It comes in at 7% ABV, and they're describing this one as a Gamay Noir mixed fermentation grape moused sour. So yeah, this should be pretty interesting. A few videos ago, of course, we reviewed the Passion Fruit Slap, which I really enjoyed. Lovely, lovely beer, that one. I recommend you try that should you get the chance. But this one, like I say, is a little bit more kind of old school and quirky, I guess we could say. But this beer was very kindly given to me by Luke Yardley, one of the owners of Yardley Brothers Brewing Company, the main man behind the company, I guess we could say, and he said that I should try this one. I actually had a little chat with him when we were in the Yardley Brothers tap room in Central a couple of weeks back, and that was really nice. Lovely, lovely guy actually. So definitely cool to try one of the beers that he feels is one of his more quirky releases. But yeah, let's crack on with this one then and see how we go. So as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting though, you can just fast forward. All the usual links can be found in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Yardley Brothers Brewery before, and we will no doubt add more to that list at some point in the near future. But there's all the usual social media down there. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The support you give is massively appreciated, and remember that you can go into the channel homepage and search for beer using the geography tagging system. Just go to the homepage, put your home county, state, province, prefecture, whatever you like in the search bar. If I've reviewed beers from the area that you search for, they will pop up. Failing that though, you can check out the playlist of beers from different countries, and you will find this one in the Hong Kong playlist, and there will be more added to that over the next wee while, I'm sure. But yeah, let's go on to my brewery notes then, and I'll tell you a wee bit about Yardley Brothers Brewery. So, Yardley Brothers Brewery, as I have told you before, was founded by Luke and Duncan Yardley, and these guys are half Scottish, half English, and Luke previously worked as a parts wholesaler and ended up staying in Hong Kong after meeting a girl and then marrying another one a bit later on. But he and Duncan had home brewed at home, and then they took it up again when Duncan joined Luke in Hong Kong back in 2014, mainly because they couldn't get a hold of the types of beer that they wanted to drink. But their first brewery was on Llama Island, but in December of 2016 they opened a production brewery on the 5th floor of an industrial estate where the rent was a lot cheaper, simply because of how expensive real estate is in Hong Kong itself, in Kowloon and on Hong Kong Island. But apparently when they moved in, the tanks wouldn't fit in the lift, so 8 people had to take them and push them up the stairs, which was quite an exercise. But they're still in this brewery today. It can be found in the Kwai Chung area at the Untappd Industrial Centre, and this is to the northeast of Kowloon, which is the city across the water from Hong Kong Island. But they also have the Beer Shack out on Llama Island and a tap room in Central these days. In the last few years they've developed their barrel program, which they started back in 2018, and they're now in the process as well of moving to a new and larger brewery, which will see them distribute their beers a little bit further afield internationally. But as of April 2023, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced 140 different kinds of beer in all different styles, and one of the really interesting ones they've produced that I would love to have a go at is a freeze distilled IPA called The Beast, and this is the strongest beer that's ever been produced in Asia from what I understand. So hopefully they do another iteration of that and we can have a wee look at it on the channel at some stage. But yeah, that is everything I can really tell you about Yardley Brothers for the moment. If you want to learn more about these guys though, you can check out the brewery website, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn a little bit more about all the different beers that these guys have done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a little look at this beer itself. Yeah, so as we said earlier, this one is a 7% grape mousse sour from their Bugs Barley series. The exact description on this one on the back is a Gamay Noir mixed fermentation grape mousse sour. I know it's been fermented for 12 months actually, so yeah, this beer has been a year in the making. But yeah, really nicely presented, this one. I think this is 375 millilitres, which is a kind of common measurement, I guess you can say, for a sour beer. There you can see, is that a locust? I think it is. You can see the locust on the can, on the bottle there as well, and you can also see this on the back, and you can see the Yardley Brothers Brewing Company symbol there. Just a plain black bottle cap on this one, and it is kind of a nice. I've only really seen Italian breweries using these kind of bottles. Actually, it's been a while since I've seen a bottle of this exact shape. But yeah, this should be very nice. As you'll know if you've watched the channel for any length of time, I'm a huge fan of Italian grape ales, IGAs, and on that note we should also give a big shout out to Luigi Corraduzzo of Luigi Drinks, a bit of a legend of the Hong Kong beer scene, that he will be featured in my video of Yardley Brothers Taproom in Central, incidentally, so you can look forward to seeing him. But yeah, IGAs, I'm a massive fan of that style, so any kind of grape sour that I come across, or plum sour or anything like that, I'm usually all over. But yeah, this should be very nice. Let's get it out into the glass and see what it's all about. The Bugs 3 7% grape mousse sour from Yardley Brothers. Currently in Kwai, Chung in Hong Kong, but soon to move somewhere else, but still in Hong Kong. Let's get it out into the glass and see what it's all about. A little bit of smoke on the opening there, as you can see. As I say, let's have a look at this beer and see what it's all about. Been looking forward to this one since Luke very kindly gave it to me. No real sedimentation visible in the bottom of the bottle with this one. I suppose you could age this for a wee while if you really wanted to, but to be honest, I just wanted to try the thing. So yeah, this looks quite interesting. Let me just turn the computer screen off because we've done with the brewery notes. But yeah, appearance-wise, this looks pretty good. Before the head disappears, we can say that it poured with, it was kind of a thin foamy layer in the middle, to be honest with you, but you've got a nice kind of fluffy foamy ring around the edge of the glass there, but a kind of cream colour to it. Yeah, a nice kind of cream, kind of ivory type colour to it, which I do quite enjoy. Or I do like, I should say, enjoy. That's a weird thing to say. Brain is not working at this hour of the day, I guess we could say. But yeah, lovely colour to this one, I have to say. That head is just fading away to leave that ring around the edge of the glass. But yeah, lovely, actually kind of ambery colour, this one. I'm not too familiar with my different kinds of wine, but yeah, this beer almost, if you didn't know what it was from the colour, you might think it was like a West Coast Pale Ale or IPA or something like that. One or two big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, a few little ones going up toward the bottom of the, or the surface, I should say. There's not really a head on this beer anymore. But yeah, it does look pretty nice. So colour of the beer, as we've said, is a kind of medium amber. The colour of your beer, of course, depends on the type of malts that you use. That goes a long way to determining your EBC rating. The length of your wort boil is going to play a role, because the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour of beer. But any barrel aging that you do or adjuncts you put in can also affect the colour of the beer as well. And I'm guessing a good little bit of the colour in this beer will be down to the grapes. But I've often found that with grape and plum sours and things, actually, the fruits can be very, very dark in colour, but you know, you end up getting lighter things like this when you actually put them into the beer. But yeah, it has a little bit of a natural haze to it, this one. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting, I have to say. I'm not sure if it tells us what type of malts have been used in this one. I'm guessing though that it will be mainly, it's just barley malt. It says, it doesn't say anything about wheat or oats or anything like that. So yeah, this is a more old school, I wonder if this is going to be like an old school kind of kettle type sour, actually. But yeah, I don't think we need to say anything else about the appearance of this one. We can have a wee look at the aroma and just see what it's all about. Oh yeah, this is going to be like a proper old school Venice type sour beer, this one. Yeah, you can smell that straight away out of it. You've got these lovely kind of Venice-y notes coming out of this one. Yeah, lovely smelling beer, this, I have to say. Oh, that's going to be awesome. Now, as I've said to you on the channel many a time before, for me, a good sour beer is one that gives you a nice kind of big sour impact, and then it just mellows out and you get a lovely transition to sweetness with it. That's what I look for in a good sour beer. So I'm curious to see how this one is going to deliver that. But there's lots of really good sour beers out there these days, and it's definitely cool to see a brewery in Asia trying something like this. The only other brewery I really know in Asia, or well, two that I know that are doing these kind of things, would be Wild Wave in Busan in South Korea, and also Shigakogen beer from Tamamura Honten here in Japan, in Nagano Prefecture. These are the only three breweries, I should say, that I know doing these kinds of beers in Asia. So this is quite exciting to try something like this. Do let me know more, incidentally, in the comments section if you know breweries in Asia that are doing these sort of things, or any brewery that's doing this kind of beer that you would recommend. But this is lovely. This beer gives you everything you would want from this kind of style. You've got that lovely kind of woody backbone in there. You've got the sharp kind of vinous tannins. You've got a little touch of kind of green character from the hops, and a wee touch of like almost more malty sweetness out of it too. But yeah, aroma-wise, this is lovely. Let's try and break this down though and just describe it for you a wee bit more kind of in depth, I guess we could say. So on the backbone of the beer, absolutely, you get a lovely kind of smooth, oaky, woody character coming out of this one. For me, the wood, it smells a little bit drier, so I wonder, could it be European oak that's in this one? I'm not a wine connoisseur at all. I can appreciate the flavour of a good wine, but I don't really know very much about it. I'll be quite straight with that. But yeah, for me, the woody character that's in this beer, it really comes across as a little bit more European in a sense. I've always found that American oak, it's a different species of tree, incidentally. It's not the same type of tree at all. But American oak is always a little bit smoother for me in its woody characters, whereas European oak is a little bit drier. And for me, the oaky character in this one just smells that little bit drier, and it's almost got a wee hint of spice to it, which is quite interesting. There are little hints of vanilla in there as well from the wood, but of course above that you can smell a little bit of like a light white bready bread crust. Definitely some white bready notes in there as well. A little touch of like a sweeter brown bread as well coming out of the beer, and maybe just little tiny hints of like biscuit or something like that in this one. Yeah, for me that's really interesting. So yeah, the malty character really pushes its way out of this one a little bit within the woody side of the beer. So yeah, I do like that about this one for sure. On the kind of hoppy side of things, and of course hopping is quite an interesting affair when it comes to sour beers like this. There's a bit of a debate amongst brewers, I guess you could say. What they tended to do with old school sour beers like this one was they would add older hops that have been sitting for a while, so some of the alpha acid potency has dropped away, and the reason they did that was because they didn't want the hoppy character and the bitterness to detract from the sourness of the beer. These days in the modern sour beer world, there's a bit of a debate about this. You can add the hops into the beer to give them a little bit more complexity, whereas a lot of brewers don't do it with modern sours like smoothie sours, Berliner Weisses, Goses, these kind of things. A lot of brewers don't add hops to these beers anymore. Some brewers do, some brewers don't. That's your basic principle there. You know, they tended in the old days they used older hops to not detract from the sour side of the beer. But what you can smell in this one is that they have used a little bit of nice. It smells like it's some kind of noble hop or something, maybe a bit of Czech Sats or German Hallertau or Tettnang, or maybe even like a Slovenian Styrian Golding or something like that. That's the kind of aroma I'm getting out of this beer. It has a little bit of a. It does have a little bit of a more kind of smooth earthiness to it. A little touch of kind of herbal character as well, but there is a wee bit of spiciness to the floral notes in this one, which makes me wonder if it's something Czech Sats. Of course, you've got Austrian hops and Polish hops like Lubielski that could be an option too, so there are a few options out there for sure. But yeah, for me, I wonder if it's a little bit of Czech Sats that's in this, because it has that wee touch of kind of spiciness. You're also getting a good little bit of grassiness out of this beer, but of course the green component takes a bit of a backseat to the vinous tannin side of things that's going on in this one. This is always the thing when we review sour beers. You have to review these beers in a kind of different way from our regular IPAs and imperial stouts and stuff like this. But this beer smells absolutely lovely. I'm going to say that straight away. Yeah, on the vinous tannin side of things, underneath all of that in this beer, you get a little bit of like a white green grapey note. There's a little bit of pear and oily pear and stuff like that. A little bit of sultana maybe. like I say, the aroma that you get out of this one, on the tannin side of things, it's quite a nice and smooth vinous character. It does have a wee bit of dryness in there, a wee touch of oiliness, like I said as well. And yeah, just the way everything goes together in this beer, I think is very, very nice. Yeah, aroma-wise, this gets a big thumbs up from me. It's lovely. Yeah, as I say, you've got that sharp kind of vinous note in the beginning, and it just mellows out. The more that you smell of this beer, the more it mellows out and just gives you these lovely, just vinous tannins. And then you've got the little bit of pear, gooseberry, and like sultana and things like that underneath that just form the backbone of the beer. I don't get too much in the way of the actual juicy grapes out of the flavour, out of the aroma, I have to say, but I'm sure we'll get more of that when we actually taste the thing. So let's do that and see what this beer is all about. As I always say, it'll take a bit of time to enjoy the aroma, because these sour beers can be absolutely lovely in that way. So yeah, this is the Bugs 3 Gamay Noir Mixed Fermentation Grape Mousse Sour, as they're calling it. They've added grape mousse into this one, coming in at 7% ABV from Yardley Brothers Brewery in Hong Kong, currently in Kwai, Chung, but very soon to move at the time of filming this video. Slàinte, skål, cheers, and as they say there, Gambay. Oh yeah. I'm going to say straight away, this is very interesting. It's a lovely beer. Once again, this is what I mean about Yardley Brothers. Luke really is a very solid brewer, I have to say. You can basically pick a style of beer that you like from these guys. If you haven't tried this brewery before, just pick a style of beer that you like, and what you're going to find is you'll get a very solid interpretation of that beer. And it's interesting for me because I first reviewed this brewery back in about 2019, and their beers were good, but you could tell they still kind of had that little bit of homebrewing-y rawness to them. This brewery's grown up a hell of a lot in the 4 years in the 4 years since I first tried the beers. And yeah, the sour beers that I've tried this time, the Passion Fruit Slap and now this one, these are both very, very good beers. And it's cool to see another brewery in Asia doing these things. Like I say, if you want other ones, Wild Wave in Busan in Korea, and Shiga Koven beer here in Japan. But yeah, this is lovely stuff. So big thumbs up to Luke for this one. A solid beer. I look forward to seeing what else he's going to do. I'd love to see him, if he can do this beer style that well, it'd be cool to see him do like an old school Rodenbach style Flanders Red, something like that. This is great. So, yeah, this really is very nice. What other thing I'll say about this beer is it's very light and very drinkable beer, and if you know the climate of Hong Kong, you can see why a number of beers like that a number of beers brewed in Hong Kong are like that. But yeah, this is good. Where do we start with this one then? We'll go to the middle third of the palate as we always do. We'll start there. Like I say, the backbone of this beer is a lovely smooth. It's got a lovely smooth oaky character to it, and when I taste it now, I do wonder if it is American oak that's in this one, because it really feels quite smooth. You get a bit of dryness to it in the aftertaste, but still, it comes across as very, very smooth in that way. Yeah, so in terms of the malty side of things on top of that, the wood there, you do get further forward on that middle third of your palate, you get a little bit of the more kind of vanilla-y, woody character coming out of the beer, and then further back you can feel the dryness of the oak coming out, but still that oaky character is very, very smooth, and you can just feel a little bit of the kind of winey character sitting on top of it, like a little bit of an oily sweetness there. But above that you start to get the kind of malty side of the beer. So for me, the malty backbone of the beer is quite the malty side of the beer in this one is it's great. It's got a lovely, the bread crusty character that you get out that's just really smooth, and kind of, it's got a lovely kind of just fresh white bready bread crust smoothness to it, a little bit of an almost wholemeal brown bready character as well. There's maybe a wee tiny hint of like a crackery note actually to this one, and then there's a wee bit of the white bread above it, but yeah, fresh white bread crust, a little touch of a sweeter brown bready character, and some sweet white bready notes in there as well. This is a lovely, lovely tasting beer actually, so it gets a thumbs up from me from the malty side of things. In the dead centre of your palate, you will find that there's a little touch of like a Werther's Original butterscotchy, butter candy type thing, and that goes together very nicely for sure. So yeah, for me, the malty side of this beer really complements the wood very, very well, and you do get more and more sweetness out of this the further into the aftertaste that you go. If you go to the back third, I think we said everything we need to about the middle third of your palate then, so if you go toward the back third of your palate, you can feel there's in the border region between middle and back third, you get a nice little bit of bready build up in there, so it's a kind of white brown bready sort of thing, but then the base of that back third of your palate, it has a little bit more, you get the dry woody character in there underneath, which is great. You get a little bit of the kind of fresh white bready bread crust for sure as well, and then above that you can feel there's the brown bready layer just feels a little bit more taller and airy, than there's a little bit of white bread above that. You always get that on the back third of the palate, similar layers, but they're just a bit taller and a wee bit more airy, and above everything else on that there's a wee bit of a more kind of farmhousey, yeasty type bread, like a very light, very airy, and almost honeycomb infused farmhousey type brown bread. So yeah, I like how that goes together in this one, but definitely on the back third of your palate you can feel the flavour is taller. Then as you come further forward into the middle third of your palate, it just kind of condenses down and squashes together. So yeah, it goes together very, very nicely. So on the the malty and yeasty side of things, I think that's everything we need to say. We can go to the hoppy side of the beer now. So the back corners of the palate, I do get a little bit of earthiness there, and as you come further forward, the earthiness does spread forward a little bit, but you get a wee touch of herbal character out there, and as you reach the front corners of the palate, there's a little bit of floral note, and round the front curve of the tongue, it's a wee bit lighter and grassy. Now, what I will say about the green component in this beer is you can definitely feel it's a little bit suppressed, if you like. You can feel it's quite wet and quite oily. Now, what you have to say about this is that when it comes to beers with fruity adjuncts added into them, what often happens is that the green component of the beer is suppressed a little bit by the fruits. So you can feel the grape, the sort of grapey characters in this beer. The grape mousse is just kind of coming in there and just suppressing all the hoppy characters. So you can get the flavours, but you don't get the kind of pungency of the hops actually. So that's definitely worth bearing in mind with this one. So yeah, on the front third of your palate, I think we said everything we need about the green component. We'll look at the front third of your palate and how that goes together in this one. But the border region between front third and middle third of your palate, you get a little bit of a bready build up in there. There's a wee touch of a woody character underneath, and a few there's a few sort of bready, brown bready notes in there as well. But the base of that front third of your palate is more, the front third of your palate in this one is more kind of, there's a bit of woodiness in there. You get a little bit of the kind of bread crusty character on top of that, and then you start to get the nice oily bubble where the fruity esters are coming out of the hops. So we'll talk about the sour side of the beer in a minute, but your fruity esters from the hoppy side of the beer for me There's a little bit of sultana, there's a bit of an oily pear in there, a wee bit of an almost gooseberry-like note as you come further forward. But of course, above all of that, you've got the sour impact and you've got the kind of juiciness from the actual grape mousse itself. So yeah, this is nice from that perspective, I have to say that. So yeah, when you take the beer in, you're getting that lovely kind of, you're getting a little bit of impact from the grape. You do get a wee bit of that sharp, vinous-y kind of impact from it. But you also have the, you also have that little bit of, what I would say is, you get that just kind of juiciness to it, and that's what this beer does well. It gives you that wee bit of impact, but this one is not an overly sour beer actually. It's got a little bit of sourness to it, but it's more kind of juicy, I would say. It's kind of interesting. It really reminds me a lot of the IGAs and things. It's like a lovely, just juicy grape ale, this one. It's like a fruit ale almost. But yeah, as I say, when you take the beer in, you get a little bit of that vinous tannin sort of thing that comes in and just gives you a wee bit of a punch in there. You've got the lovely oily, kind of grapey, fruity characters coming out of this one too, and then you start to get the wee bit of more. You start to get a wee bit of the more kind of. You get the pear and the more gooseberry and sultana type notes I was talking about, but yeah, the grapey notes for me are a mix. It's like it is a dark, kind of purplish grape note, but there's a wee bit of an almost green grapey character to this one as well. Of course, grapes are like hops; they're completely different. In terms of the variety and depending on where they're grown and stuff like that, but the grapey notes in this beer for me, they've got a little bit of green grapey character to them, but it almost tastes like it's more of a kind of red grape, if that makes sense. And I don't know how common it is to have these kind of red coloured grapes. I often see the purple ones or the kind of white green ones, but yeah, I have to say I do like, I love my grape juice, so maybe I should get into wine a wee bit more, but yeah, adding another dimension to the channel might be a wee bit difficult, but anyway. So, yeah, for me, the grapey, fruity side of this beer is lovely. It just comes in behind the front tip of your tongue, and you can feel it gives you a little bit of that vinous-y and leathery tannin impact, and it just mellows out over the top of everything else, and it kind of lingers into the aftertaste there, and you can feel the grapey notes just spreading round the kind of front edges of your palate there. Like I say, lovely, lovely beer, this one. It gets a big thumbs up from me, and to be honest with you, I think that's everything we need to say about the actual flavour of this beer. So let's just round off with a wee look at the mouthfeel. So, yeah, for me, the mouthfeel of this beer, it's kind of right in the middle of the spectrum, sort of mid-bodied. The carbonation's very smooth. It's got a lovely kind of oily character to it, I would say, as well. Yeah, a lovely little bit of oily character to it. It gives you a little bit of dryness the further into the aftertaste that we go. And it's also got that, it's just also got that wee bit of sweetness too. So yeah, middle of your, for me, definitely mid-bodied, smooth carbonation, quite wet and refreshing. It is kind of refreshing actually, this beer. But it certainly has the wee bit of oily character you want from a sour beer like this. But on the malty side of things, like I say, there's a bit of dryness from the wood, a little bit of kind of graininess and sweetness from the bread, a little bit of actual butter candy sweetness there for me. You've got the lovely kind of little bit of hoppy character in there. Incidentally, I would say this beer is probably like somewhere between 0 and 5 IBUs. There must be a little touch of bitterness to this one, but not a lot at all. But yeah, the fruity side of this one, lovely, big, juicy, kind of wet fruity character, and that's what makes this one really, really nice for me. But yeah, I think that's everything we really need to say about this one. This has been really, really nice to try, and I think Yardley Brothers have done a very solid brew with this one. So I need to keep an eye on this Bug series the next time I'm in Hong Kong and see if I can get hold of one. But yeah, big thumbs up to Luke Yardley for this beer. He's done a great job with it, and yeah, the two sour beers we've tried this time have been pretty awesome actually. So I think we can leave it at that for this review. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Yardley Brothers Brewing Company as well. And we will no doubt return to these guys again at some point in the future. But yeah, this was the Bugs 3 Gamay Noir Mixed Fermentation Grape Mousse Sour, aged in barrels, from Yardley Brothers Brewing Company in Hong Kong. Currently in Wan Chai, but then very soon to move. Oh no, not Wan Chai, I've told you the wrong place. What was it? Place has gone right in my head. Doesn't matter so much. But yeah, these guys are in Hong Kong. Great brewery. Check them out. Go to their tap room in Central, or alternatively, go to Yama Island. Have a wee or go to Lama Island. Sorry, mixing up all the words in this video. Go to Lama Island. Check out the beer shack. Lovely little venue, and you'll have a lovely time there. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. Thank you again for watching. Check out my social media. Check out Yardley Brothers social media, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Slàinte, skål, cheers, and Gambay.